take that. Thanks for coming. I'm supposed to wait until 7, but I mean, we'll fill them in later. Thanks for coming tonight. This is Dallas, isn't it? Must be, because this is Frisco. It's part. All right. I don't say suburb. I'm sure it's its own independent. You don't need Dallas to exist. But that means it's Friday. Okay, yes. You want me to hold it right here? Oh yeah, the Radio Shack stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'll hold it closer. Thanks for coming. Most of you have a copy of Good Eats 3 in your hot little hands, I'm hoping. Yeah, you got one of those? Well, thank you for getting that. It's the best of the series thus far. And I just want everybody to know that we took, in writing this book, we took every single recipe or application from those episodes and completely tore them down and rebuilt them. Okay, so we literally, anybody that we ever found that people had problems with any of the applications, we went back, we fixed them. So if you're a fan of the show, and odds are you are, who else would spend nearly $30 on a book? And if you've printed out recipes from like foodnetwork.com and used them, throw those away and use the ones out of this book because we fixed them. They're better. Which means that if you cook something out of this book and it messes up, it's your fault. Because we have we gave them to like monkeys to test and everything was good. So if you screw something up, you need to do some serious soul searching about your cooking. Maybe just sell it on eBay. I'm kidding, I was about to say something else distasteful, but I'm not going to. Because I promised to stop talking bad about other Food Network people. It's really good. Anyway, no, I'm not talking dirt. I'm not talking dirt. So I actually don't know any. I have to keep making things up. What? It's just you? Yeah, just you and Twitter and Facebook and a few other million people. I swear, you can't get away with anything anymore. It's taking all the fun out of being a celebrity. Anyway, what? Twitchy is here. Yes, I brought my attorney with me. If you're a fan of the show. Yeah, I travel with legal representation at all times. Anyway, before we get to signing, because there are more than like 30 of you here. Yeah, at least 40. I wanted to take some time to take questions from you guys and talk about what might be on your minds. Because I don't have much else to say, other than please don't fuss at me about the fact that I put Good Eats out to pasture. Because I have, Good Eats is done. We finished the last special about a month ago. No, don't boo me, don't. Because I can just go back to the airport and crank out the go. I have no contract to make me stay. But yeah, about 4 weeks ago we wrapped up the last Good Eats special, which is about dark chocolate. That'll air in February. And there's, chocolate always seems to be somewhat popular. And it's a pretty good show. We held out our very best chocolate work for the end. And there's also going to be a new 1-hour Thanksgiving special that will air in November.
Yeah.
We reinvented the turkey yet again. This time we've come up with a dry brine, dry aged turkey that cooks in under an hour. So we got that going for us. I'm still making a bid for the Nobel Prize. I waited, after we came up with the turkey derrick, I waited patiently by the phone for the call. And it never came. So anyway, I want to take some time to take your questions. All I ask is that you raise your hand and let me pick you. Don't just holler all at once, and I'll show you how this works. We'll start with you, ma'am, and I'll repeat the question. Go ahead. Is this what I wanted to do when I was little? No. I wanted to be an astronaut when I was little. I'd still kind of like to be an astronaut. So I'm going to move to Russia, because that seems to be what you have to do. No. I'm not even sure this is what I want to do now, but I'm going with it. I'm going with it for now, because it seems like it pays okay. Yes, ma'am. Will Food Network continue to show reruns of Good Eats? What they are doing is they are moving the series mostly. It's still going to have like 1 or 2 airs a week, but they're going to move it to prime time on Cooking Channel, which is the new digital branch of Food Network where the actual cooking is going to happen. Because on Food Network, eventually there won't be any more cooking. All the cooking will be on the Cooking Channel, and there will be like 24-hour cupcake fights and stuff on Food Network. in diners and drive-ins and dives and cupcakes. Cupcake battle and cupcake apocalypse and cupcake doomsday and stuff like that. So anyway, so Good Eats supposedly is going to show in chronological order, all 13 years in order on Cooking Channel. I keep begging them to make it an instant view on Netflix, but I think that what they all I can say is email Food Network and ask for that, because I think that right now, as long as they've got it on Cooking Channel, they're happy to kind of do that. I would very much like to see it on both iTunes and Netflix. But some of them are available on iTunes, but it's very sporadic, and I haven't figured out the logic behind it yet. Yes, sir? Do I have another show in mind after Good Eats? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right now, I've got about 10 things that I'm looking at. I'm trying to decide which one to do and in which kind of order. I've had a bit of a wrench thrown into the monkey works, as it were, by the fact that there's another show on Food Network that I'll be really honest with you, I've never watched, called Food Network Star. It used to be called Next Food Network Star, now it's called Network Star. Has anybody seen that?
Yeah.
Well, this past year, I was in the first episode of the season, and then I was in the 8th episode. I didn't watch it, but apparently I came across as rather, help me with the word, mean. Did somebody say ugly? Oh, awesome. Well, I don't know, I thought you said ugly. Did you say ugly? Oh. Anyway, apparently I made some people cry or something. I don't know what it was. But as a result, they've asked me to be on all 11 episodes this next year. So my goal is going to be, I'm going to be on all the episodes of Food Network Star. And my personal goal is to have no one stay.
Yes!
Because I'm kind of sick of that crap. So I'm going to make everybody cry and everybody quit. I'm going to make Giada De Laurentiis cry. I'm going to make Bobby Flay cry.
Yeah! Woo!
So
it's a throwdown.
I'm going to be going into production on a new show right away, but I got to take time for the crying, and then when the crying's over, I'll dive into something else. Someone over here, yes, ma'am. Why did I decide to add history and science? How did I do that? You know, everything that happens in the kitchen is science, and food. Everything about food's history is fascinating to me. So my theory is that if I could tell the science and the history behind food, it would be even more interesting to folks. So that even people that didn't necessarily like to cook would watch, which is what I wanted to do. And then a lot of people who said they wouldn't cook eventually got interested enough where they did. So I had to infect them. You have to think like a virus. Different people have different ways in. You have to just find the way in, and you know. Well, I'm not going to go any further with that. Yes, ma'am. Gluten-free foods don't taste very good. You're right. I would like to say that on Good Eats we've made a few gluten-free items that do taste good. But what I get tired of is people say, I can't have gluten, but I want to make French bread. Silence, child, or I'll eat you. Back to gluten-free. Saying that I want gluten-free, French baguettes. It's kind of like saying I want sugar and chocolate-free chocolate chip cookies. You know, it really can't be done. Besides, I think that at least half the people that are eating gluten-free just want attention. Yeah, it's not. They just want to be difficult. I mean, honestly, the entire population of the United States hasn't suddenly gotten a gluten intolerance. Okay, it's like a couple hundred folks who really have a serious problem. Everybody else just wants to be difficult. But here's the thing about a gluten-free diet, though, is it does tend to be a healthier diet because, let's face it, a lot of foods that aren't great for you are pretty much loaded with gluten, the white food, as it were. So I've cut back on it a lot because when I eat white, I get tight. Meaning my pants, mostly. Things get out of hand really, really fast. But do you want more gluten-free? Is that what you were going to comment? You need good gluten-free recipes. Are you gluten intolerant, madam? Or are you gluten special? You're a dietitian? They want gluten-free French bread. Tell them they can't frickin' have it. Just say it. Say, look, eat your eggs and some almonds and shut up. kind of like, I get tired of vegetarians telling me, I want barbecue. I'm like, then eat barbecue. Hi, the chef lady in red there. Hi. Go ahead. Do I have a favorite episode of Good Eats? I'm Kid. I will eat you leg first. Hi. Kid's like, oh, you want to come out? You want to come in and visit me? Oh, you can make another. They're easy to make. They're hard to live with. I don't really have favorite episodes, but I have episodes that were my favorite to make. Because I'm kind of experiential. I mean, once the final product's gone, it's gone. But the two that were the most fun to make, we made about, oh gosh, it was about 4 years ago now, I guess, a sustainable seafood show where I played myself as like an old man. My daughter played my granddaughter, and we like made this futuristic grocery store and did this sustainable seafood thing, and that was a lot of fun. Although seeing your daughter for the first time in white go-go boots is a little odd, you know. And like crew members sitting on my daughter, you know, it's like, hey, what are you doing after the shoot? She's 11, guys, get away. So that was a lot of fun. And then the other one that was just ridiculously fun was we did a meat pie show. There was a takeoff on Sweeney Todd.
Yeah!
And that was the only time any show on Food Network has blatantly gone after cannibalism and gotten away with it. Usually, we don't. So those two would be my favorite. How about you, sir?
Do you get the chance to enjoy doing Iron Chef America?
Do I get a chance to enjoy doing Iron Chef America? Well, I love doing Iron Chef America because it's like going to culinary school every day. And it's a real fast burn. We do two shows a day, 5 days a week for 3 weeks. And sometimes 6 days a week, depending on the sequencing. So it's go, 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 go. I'm usually get into the kitchen to watch the chefs check things out, their ingredients at like 6 in the morning. And we usually don't leave before about 8 at night. So it's a real education. My goal on that show is to never have a chef put anything on the counter that I don't know about. Which is tough. It's like I remember showing up at the first battles, you know, like Morimoto would show up and I couldn't sleep at night because, you know, the guy would come with like 13 kinds of kelp. And dealing with him was like really interesting because like at the very beginning of the show, I came to introduce myself the very first time I worked with Morimoto, and he was getting ready to open his restaurant in Philadelphia. And I came up behind him, he was on the phone, right? And he's talking on the phone. It's like, yeah, I want to go with the red. The red tablecloths really need to match the draperies. Telling me, wait a second, they have to match the draperies. No, I don't care. You're going to send them back to the guy that made the napkins. Yeah, we got to see him about the other side. Okay, I got to go. He hangs up, and I say to him, hi, Morimoto, and he goes, could you tell me about the 13 kinds of kelp you have here? And his phone rings, and I was like, yeah, no. Dude's English is perfect. I mean, perfect. Like Cambridge perfect. But he talks to me and he turns on the... Sorry, I don't even remember what your question was. What? Yeah, whatever. Go ahead, because I'm worried about your arm. Go ahead. Yes, there is a Thanksgiving special coming next month. You want to know something? The turkey derrick is not coming back. Well, I did that. Why do you need another show about it? I gave you the definitive fried turkey and the definitive, turkey derrick. I've saved lives. Not to mention porches, decks, homes, probably orphanages. Yeah, you like stuff blowing up, don't you? Yeah. Get a hold of yourself, kid. You're all right. No more turkey derrick and nothing blows up. Yes, ma'am. Have I become a heartthrob? Only amongst the blind population. Oh yeah, he sounds hot. No. Neiman Marcus? Is that here in this mall? Oh, well that doesn't help me tonight, does it? Guy in the baseball cap. My favorite native food of any of the places that I visited. Gosh, that's tough because I can't separate food from the experience of where I am and who I'm with. I can't objectify food very well. So I would probably say the food of Tuscany because I turned 21 in Tuscany and I studied, had a semester of college there, and it was a really big deal for me, and it was a very eye-opening experience. So I have a real soft spot for that food. I also have a really serious thing for Cuban food, but I've never been to Cuba. But the second they let me go, I am all over that place. I would maybe become communist just to go. But then again, how about it? All right, somebody here. Okay, yes, you, the girl that everyone's pointing at. You got to shout. Have I ever thought about doing a kid show? Yeah, starting with that one right there. Woo! Yeah, the problem with a cooking show, with a kids' cooking show, is getting people to give up their children for the cooking process. It's very difficult to get recipe testing done. Actually, I'm writing a children's cookbook right now.
Yeah!
But it's kind of messed up. Because it's going to probably be in a comic book form, and it's a little on the dark side. Things happen, bad things happen to little children who don't do what I say in a kitchen. I'm talking like food processor bad, oven bad. Yes, ma'am. Am I going to open my production studio to other people? Nah, I don't see that happening. I don't play well with others very well. Am I going to what? I've been behind the camera this whole time. I mean, you mean am I going to direct for other people? I don't know, maybe. I mean, never say never. I've come to believe that. But I don't have any current plans for that. Kid, that's a great yeast puppet. You should get up and show everybody your yeast puppet. Now stand up. Yeah. You. If I was to make a smartphone app, what would I have it do? Well, I wouldn't design an app unless I designed some very specific hardware. It's like, I would love to design a scale. So like, if I gave you a recipe and it said you needed, 12 ounces of lamb, and you only had 4, the scale would weigh it, send it to the phone, and adjust everything in the recipe for the amount you had. Or thermometers that would talk. Like having both an oven thermometer and a meat thermometer that would talk to an app to tell you like timing out your meals and stuff like that. Or what would really be cool is an iPhone app where you simply held up the camera, opened your refrigerator, and took a picture of it, and the app would come on and tell you what you can make for dinner. That's the kind of crap I'm talking about. Serious. Or imagine an app that you would just go in and pick one of my recipes, walk into the store, and my voice would come on and direct you to each of the items in the store.
Oh, wow.
That is possible, my friend. It's possible. You.
How's the family?
How's the family? Good. I think. Last time I saw them. How's yours?
Not bad.
Not bad? Good. Excellent. You, ma'am. If I could only have one cooking reference book. Okay, a reference book as opposed to a recipe book? The 1962 edition of The Joy of Cooking.
Yeah!
Because the 1962 edition was the last one that actually had drawings of how to skin a squirrel. Don't laugh. Let me tell you something. You try to skin a squirrel without the drawings, not only will you ruin a squirrel, you'll ruin your boots. Because you gotta hold, once you get the skin coming off the back of the neck, you gotta hold it down and pull. And trust me, if you don't have drawings to really lead you through that process, you. I still ride a lot, although I don't have as many motorcycles as I used to. I used to have about 5. Now I have 1 and 2 airplanes. The kind of, airplanes are pretty sweet. I ride a Ducati.
Yeah!
You know why? Because I'm reaching middle age, and I think every man ought to have a fast Italian at least once.
Wow.
Fast, irresponsible, sexy, gas-guzzling Italian. She's got nice lines. Yeah, she really does. She does. Yes, sir.
Blu-ray,
Blu-ray?
whole set.
Wouldn't it be nice? Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice to get year sets of Good Eats on Blu-ray?
Yes.
Send your cards and letters and emails to Food Network, or take some hostages. They might pay attention. I think it'll happen. I mean, I call almost daily, but I can't make it happen all by myself. I need my army to work with me to help influence this. Yes, ma'am. No, have I had a what? I have not had a Fletcher's corny dog. Is that what you called it? No. Where would I get one? What? I don't even remember that.
It's in Dallas.
Texas State Fair.
Hey, kid.
It ends
Blow out your
Sunday.
ear. You don't live my life. You can't possibly know how much RAM I've got. I don't freaking remember, okay? I will eventually. Like, tonight I'll be sitting in a hotel. I'll go, oh, yeah. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, watch your tongue. I could have you. I got security here. Yes, ma'am. Did I ever make something I didn't like? Yes. Lots of times. But the nice thing about food is I have very high tolerance for crappiness, so I can just choke it down because it's food, you know, and at the end of the day you're hungry. If you wait long enough and get hungry enough, it'll start to taste good. I know. I mean, I've been eating my mother-in-law's food for years now.
Oh.
Yes, sir. What? Rangers or Cardinals? Well, now let me think a sec. I guess I'll go Rangers. Cardinals. It's a freaking bird. Come on. I see a hand sticking up over there with like no body attached to it. Oh, look, it's a short woman. Hi. The one multitasker I can't live without in my kitchen. Well, they're all multitaskers in my kitchen, except for the fire extinguisher. But of all of them, I guess I'd have a really tough time living without. No, I could live without all of them. I could live without any of it. I could cook with a stick. I don't know. I mean, I use a lot of stuff every day. I'm really addicted to my electric kettle. I use an electric kettle for all kinds of stuff, and I use a panini press all the time. I make all kinds of stuff in a panini press. It's like a splatter-free cooking engine, and I like it. So I squeeze all kinds of stuff in there. I like to squeeze things while I'm cooking them. Anyway, yes, you, sir. Well, you know, cocktails in beer and such. You know, we did several cocktail episodes of Good Eats, and I was even thinking about trying to do a late night show just about it, just about bar stuff. Do a show at like 11 at night, you know? Yeah?
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of like a really kind of twisted version of Cheers. You know, there'd be like guests. We'd have like drunks come hang out, you know, and stuff. Like have special guests who just sat at the bar, you know, and make cocktails. I think that could be a lot of fun. You could call it Good Drinks. Yes, ma'am. You're a high school senior now? Oh. Where do the sock puppets come from? Well, why does that bother you so badly? I mean, you know what? We came up on our first pizza show, season 1 of Good Eats, and it was like, I need something to play yeast. What do we got? We all looked at each other, and somebody said, sock puppet. Yeah, there we go. They're cheap. You can make a bunch of them, and people get very attached to them. They get fan mail. You know, I did a show a while back where I fired them all. People were like, I can't believe you did that. What's going to happen to those yeasts? I'm like, they're going to reproduce, you know, and die. Keep my hair short. I'm not sure I have a choice at this point. If it gets any longer, it just falls out. So, yes, ma'am. What's going to happen to the sock puppets? We got a whole like trunk full of them. We got a trunk full of, you know, and they're laying there like eBay. We thought about selling off a bunch of the props for charity. But the first thing I have to do is convert my daughter's college fund to a not-for-profit. Then I can do it. Somebody actually offered me, and we got this chicken, this paper mache chicken on the show. What's that? You want the chicken? Well, I was offered $25,000 for it. I didn't take it. So I'm holding out. Somebody out there is just sick enough to pay 26. Why, you sir, way in the back with the glasses. Yes, you. Who do I consult for food science? Depends on the science, a lot of people. There's this group called the Research Chefs Association. I check with them about certain things because there are so many different experts in so many different areas. So I do a lot with them because they answer questions in using normal words that I can understand. Yes, ma'am. What's my favorite recipe in this new book? I gotta tell you, I got a really soft spot for two of them. The porterhouse steak, because I really am proud of the fact that I figured out the perfect way to cook a porterhouse is underneath a charcoal chimney starter, which works phenomenally well. The other one is wrong in a lot of ways, and it's the crock pot lasagna, which is both a lasagna, a dip, and a ticket to hell, I think. That's very scary. Yes, ma'am. I have not done, I've done some research on smell and taste or chemical sense disorders because I'm really interested in why we taste the things we taste and how we taste and how we develop taste for things, especially when they're not very good, like scotch. Yeah, but I mean, people acquire this, but I've never thought about doing any specific work towards it because I need to go get a PhD first because it's extremely complicated and research is changing every day. I mean, we still don't really understand how taste buds work. So, do you have a taste you can't smell? My grandmother, I grew up with a very close relationship with a grandmother who had lost her sense of smell from scarlet fever and had no sense of smell whatsoever. And it was an interesting dilemma. I think that's one of the things I would want to lose last, because my sense of smell is very primate-like. I use it to get out of trouble all the time. All right, we got time for just a few more. You, sir, young man.
What inspired you to be a chef?
What inspired me to be a chef? First off, I'm not a chef. I don't have any tall white hats. I don't have any white double-breasted coats, and I don't scream at people in foreign languages. I've been on the receiving end of way too many chefs, so I'm not one of those. But you probably meant a cook, which is what I am. I got into cooking for one reason and one reason only: get girls. That was it. In college, I was pathetic. I could not get dates. Every girl I asked out said no, and then but I found that if you offered to cook for a girl, that was curious. That was a curious thing, especially in the 80s. Nobody did that. And so that's what I did. I dedicated myself to cooking to get dates. It didn't really work out very well. That's what he did?
That's what he did for me.
How'd that work out?
Great. 21 years later.
Hope to the old ball on chain. Right? It didn't really work out for me in college. What I ended up with was yet another hobby I could do completely by myself. Yes, sir. How much warning do they get about a secret ingredient? What the competitors on Iron Chef America get is pretty much what they got on the Japanese version of the show, which is about a week beforehand. We give them a list of, I think it's either 8 or 10 possible ingredients that it could be. And that's all they know. So they have to plan for any of those eventualities. That's it. Which is still pretty hard when you think about it. You know, it's just that a lot of people think that because they see a lot of running around at the very beginning of the battle that everybody must know what's going on, but they don't. I mean, it's claim as much of the product as you can, so you're running to do that. And also, you know, in most battles, somebody's going to cut up some onions, somebody's going to boil some water. If you're on Bobby Flay's team, somebody's going to make some chili oil and some herb oil. So there are those things that are gone into immediately, and then about 5 minutes into the battle, everybody stops and stares at each other and goes, I don't know. Well, because the show, you know, the battle's an hour long, the show's an hour long, but we have about 19 minutes of commercials, so we just cut that part out because it's kind of boring to watch a bunch of guys and girls in white coats go. It's just not that, it's not compelling, is the word we use. Yes, sir. Yeah, you. I like your glasses. What was my favorite thing to do in Good Eats? Go home at the end of the day. It was really hard. It was, you know, because I was on camera and I was directing and I was writing and all of that. It was hard. But what I really loved most about it was setting the camera shots, because my first job through my life has been a cameraman. So setting up all those crazy shots in the backs of ovens and in funny places, that was the fun part of the job. That was the best part of the job. Yes, ma'am. You.
If you had to pick a chef or cook, whatever you call it, dead or alive, that you could cook one meal with.
If I could pick one chef, dead or alive, one cook, dead or alive, to cook with, who would it be?
I bet Julia Childs.
That's really, really tough. I'd have to think about that because there are a lot of dead cooks. Yeah, boy, of all the dead cooks. Well, Julia Child's just such an easy answer, isn't it? You know, what? What? It's not a bad answer. But I might, Bobby plays alive, honey. Bobby plays alive. It could be dead or alive. You know, probably James Beard. James Beard. You don't know who that is, do you? Someone else here will explain it to you. All right, we got to wrap this up pretty soon. How about the tall guy in the back with the glasses? Yes, sir, you. What makes a good cook? I think the number one thing, that's a really great question. I think the number one thing about being a good cook is you have to want to serve people. You have to want to make people happy. You've got to want to serve them. That's the number one thing about hospitality, is that desire to give of yourself. And I think that flavors food more than you might know. The second thing would be having all three of the Good Eats books. Incredible. I can't stress how important that is. No, I would say that the other thing is a really good ability to taste and to learn the experience of tasting your food, changing your food. A lot of people that cook don't really taste their food, and most Americans don't really taste their food, because if they did, they wouldn't eat half the crap they put in their pie holes. All right, I got time for like 2 more questions. Yes, ma'am. Halloween coming. A Halloween-related 10 minutes food science demonstration for how old? For first graders. Oh, look, I would just drop some dry ice in something. Because, I would make up some green-looking goop, and I would drop some dry ice in there and call it a day, because they will be shocked and wonder at that. That's all you got to do. First grade, it's an easy crowd. All right, somebody from the back, anybody kind of back there? What? All right, who? All right, this guy right here.
So what do you think of the quality and the health of the food that they make on vegan? And you're planning on the next show having more healthy food?
First part, the food that I did in Good Eats all these years was not unhealthy food. There's nothing unhealthy about any of that food unless you eat all of it. Okay? The general angle on the rest of the network, I can't speak to, because I haven't done like nutritional analysis on any of it. My feeling is that good food is real food that you cook at home. We're not out of shape because of what we cook at home. We're out of shape because of what we eat out in the world, I think. But what I do know is that people will not watch a show about health food. They won't do it. They absolutely positively will not watch. We try. And in the end, Food Network's not PBS, so we're not going to call up 5 times a year and ask for donations. All right, we get those from these things called advertisers, and if we make shows nobody watches, we lose them. But no, it's amazing. I've wanted to work on health-related projects ever since I lost a lot of weight, and everybody's like, no, nobody will watch that. Because they don't want to be preached at, they don't want to feel bad, and most of all, why do you think challah beans so freaking popular? Because people want to watch somebody touch that much butter. Okay? Because you're watching something wrong. And you're doing it in the privacy of your own home, you're watching it. You're watching this lady just working that butter. Massaging some stuff with that butter, and that's wrong. But you watch anyway. That's what gets good ratings. All right, who are you pointing at back here? All right, go ahead. What's up? I'm sorry, I have to kill a baby. Hold on a second. Well, if you didn't have that kid strapped in with a 15-point harness, maybe it would be alive. Just need some freedom. Well, it'll kill him. I've been claimed on by chicks before. All right, ask your question again, sir. A good alcohol substitute? Beer. Oh, I'm sorry. You mean like really no alcohol at all? That's rude. You can't break it down? It's a family thing? Would you mind driving me back to the airport today? I'm kidding. Here's the thing, is of course you can never cook out all the alcohol, no matter how much you cook it once alcohol goes in. But keep in mind, alcohol, and 90% of the recipes that call for alcohol call for wine, right? Typically speaking, okay? Wine is a small amount of alcohol, usually 10 to 12% on average, okay? It never cooks out 100%, so you're down to about 1-2%, but it's still there. The rest of it's pretty much water, and the leftovers from the grape. The obvious answer is Welch's grape juice. Respect for the antioxidant power. Very good for you. It's really difficult, but you can substitute different amounts of juices with vinegar and get close, depending on the recipe. If it's just building a sauce, you can do that. If it's something like a baked good, it's not nearly as easy. But there are some good books on the subject. When you come up in the line, I'm going to try to remember what it is before we meet up, because there are a couple of books on the subject. All right, last question. Do you need another bathroom, sir? Oh, you're pointing at her. Okay, go ahead. Make it good. Okay.
I've been waiting to know since NSLS why you stole Matt Smith's wardrobe.
Why did I steal whose wardrobe? No, I did not steal his wardrobe. I stole Dr. Who's wardrobe.
Yeah!
Before the fine folks here at Barnes & Noble, who have been nice enough to host me, thank you very much, go into their rules, I'll talk for a moment about mine. How many people have read the Fanifesto? Okay, well, you'll remember, I know that I will not actually have the perfect Fanifesto experience. Way too many of you have crappy cell phone cameras, namely Blackberries, which are the worst. Followed by, what, Androids? Androids suck too. We never have any problems with iPhones, but there you go.
Yeah!
But obviously, we'll put up whatever camera you got. Please know how to use it when you hand it off, and and make sure your memory sticks are not completely full. I do have one hard rule about signings. I will not sign live animals. So if you brought your ferret, you brought your little bunny, you brought your gerbil, when you get about 5 people away from me, just snap its little neck, okay? And then I'll sign it still warm, little dead body. But I'm not going to sign it alive because I got bitten once at a signing, and I'm still a little bitter about it. Also, I will not sign body parts, but I will sign casts. So if you decide to go break something and get a cast, that's up to you. The line's long, so we'll wait for you if you have trouble getting back to the emergency room. I'll sign pretty much anything. Spoons, we've had so far 16 stand mixers on the tour thus far. A couple of toaster ovens.
Memorabilia.
Have come through, so I don't like, yes, I'll sign certainly squirt bottles. I'll try to sign your sock puppet, it's tough, because it bleeds out all over the place. So anyway, the other thing is that I will absolutely positively stay until there's nobody left in the line. I'm not going to leave, okay? So as long as... I will move as quickly through the line as I possibly can. Some of you are going to end up waiting a really long time, but since I'm not leaving, you can go out to dinner, have a drink or two, and come back. I'll still be here, okay? Do you have more rules? Okay, this fine lady, Nicole, is going to give you directions. I'm going to get ready to sign. I'll meet you all very shortly. Thanks for coming.
Okay, my friends, stay still really quick, just so I can make sure that everyone is moving in the right direction. First,